Hello everyone, this is Rashid Khan and you are watching Innovative English Learning. You can also watch this video in Urdu from the playlist. Today we are going to talk about future simple tense. So in this video we'll talk about the different uses of future tense in detail. Apart from that, we'll talk about the different structures like affirmative structures, WH questions, yes-no questions, negative structures and negative interrogative structures. Moreover, we'll also talk about some of the differences between present continuous tense and future simple tense, because sometimes we use present continuous tense to refer to future actions. So we'll also discuss that. Now let's see what is future simple tense. The uses of future simple tense: we use I'll or I will when we have just decided to do something. So when we have decided to do something, when we say I'll do something, we announce our decision. So when we announce our decision or plan or the thing that we have decided for future, we use future simple tense. For example, oh, I left the door open, I'll go and shut it. So it means I've decided to go back and shut it. What would you like to drink? I'll have orange juice, please. I've decided to drink orange juice, so I'll have orange juice. Did you call Max? Oh no, I forgot. I'll call him now. I've decided to call him now. So that is how we use I will. We often use I'll in this situation, offering to do something. So when we offer to do something, we use future simple tense. That bag looks heavy, I'll help you with it. Not I help, I'll help you, because I'm offering my help. Agreeing to do something: when we agree to do something, can you give Tom this book? Sure, I'll give it to him when I see him this afternoon. I'll give. Okay, so it means I'm agreeing. Promising to do something: when I promise or when we promise to do something, we also use future simple tense. Thanks for lending me the money, I'll pay you back on Friday. So Friday is future and I'll pay you, I promise. I won't tell anyone what happened, I promise. I won't, I will not tell anyone. It's future simple tense. We use will to say what we know or believe about the future, not what someone has already decided. Remember, when we believe or when we know something about future, we normally use future simple. But if something has already been planned, then we do not use future simple tense. For example, they have been away a long time. When they return, they'll find a lot of changes here. So it means we are sure, we believe that when they return, they'll find a lot of changes here. Where will you be this time next year? I'll be in Japan. I'll be in Japan. So I believe or I know that I'll be in Japan. That plate is hot. If you touch it, you'll burn yourself. I believe, I know that you'll burn yourself if you touch that plate. Anna looks completely different now. You won't recognize her. I believe that you will not recognize her. When will you get your exam results? So we are asking about future things, that when we believe or when we know something or we want to know something. So that is why we use future simple tense. When will you get your exam results? Using shall or will. Sometimes we use shall or sometimes will. So what's the difference? Normally we use shall only with I and we, but it's something outdated. It would be used in the old grammar. Now will is acceptable with all the subjects. Like you can say I shall or I will or I'll, we shall or we will. I shall be tired this evening or I will be tired. So there is no difference. We shall probably go to Scotland for our holiday, or we will probably go. So we can use both of them. In spoken English, we normally use I'll or will. So here we only use apostrophe double L. That is equal to will as well as shall. So there is no difference. We'll probably go to Scotland. The negative of shall is shall not or shan't. I shan't be here tomorrow, or I won't be here tomorrow. So will not, that is the short form, is won't, and shall not is contracted as shan't. Do not use shall with he, she, it, you or they, because shall is normally used with I and we. She will be very angry, not she shall be. Okay, so we do not use shall with he, she, it, or you, we, you, they, etc. Shall plus I or shall plus we. We use shall mostly in the questions, shall I or shall we. When we ask polite questions, so we use this structure. We use shall I or shall we to ask if it's okay to do something or to ask for a suggestion. For example, shall I open the window? Do you want me to open it? It means that. Okay, so shall I open the window? I'm asking for permission. I've got no money. What shall I do? What do you suggest? So what do you want me to do? Shall we go? Just a minute. I'm not ready yet. Where shall we have lunch? Let's go to Marino's. Okay, so that is how we use shall I and shall we. Now study the difference between will and going to. Remember, sometimes we use going to for referring to future actions, but there is a slight difference, not much difference, but slight difference. Sue is talking to Helen. Let's have a party. That's a great idea. We'll invite lots of people. We will invite lots of people. We use will when we decide to do something at the time of speaking. The speaker has not decided before. The party is new idea. So remember, once we only know something or when we decide at the time of speaking, so we use will. That something has not been decided before. So that is how we use will. Like for example, past, now, I'll, and future. It refers to future. In the past, I have not decided. I just decided. In the present, and I talk about future. So I use I will. But look at here. Later that day, Helen meets Dev. Sue and I have decided to have a party. We are going to invite lots of people. Now here the action has already been decided. So that is why we prefer using going to rather than will. So going to, we use be plus ing to when we have already decided to do something. So when something has already been decided, then we use going to, and when something is decided at the time of speaking, then we use will. Future happenings and situations predicting the future. Sometimes there is not much difference between will and going to. For example, you can say, I think the weather will be nice later, or I think the weather is going to be nice later. When we say something is going to happen, we know or think this because of the situation now. For example, look at those black clouds. It's going to rain, not it will rain. We can see the clouds now. So when we feel something or when we think something in the present and we say that it is going to happen in the future, so that is why we use going to rather than will. I feel terrible. I think I'm going to be sick. So from the present situation of mine, I just think, I recognize that I'm going to be sick, not I think I will be sick. I feel terrible now. Do not use will in situations like these. So in such situations, when we predict something from the current situation in future, we prefer using going to. In other situation, it is safer to use will, but apart from such situation, we normally prefer will. Tom will probably arrive at 8 o'clock. I think Anna will like the present we bought for her. So here we use will rather than going to. Present tenses, I'm going to or I do for the future. Present continuous, I'm doing or I'm going, etc. with the future meaning. Look at these examples. This is Tom's diary for next week. He is playing tennis on Monday afternoon. He is going to the dentist on Tuesday morning. He is having dinner with Anne on Friday. In all these examples, Tom has already decided and arranged to do these things. So remember, the only difference between present continuous and future indefinite or simple is that when something is already been decided, we use present continuous or going to, and when we decide something at the time of speaking, then we prefer using will or present future simple tense. Here use the present continuous to say what we have already arranged to do. Do not use the present simple tense. Remember, once we have arranged something or we have decided, so we can only use present continuous. We cannot use the present simple or the future simple. For example, what are you doing on Saturday evening? Not what to do. What do you do? I'm going to the theater, not I go. I go is present simple, so we cannot use it. What time is Kathy arriving tomorrow? At 10:30 I'm meeting her at the station. I'm not working tomorrow, so we can go out somewhere. Ein isn't playing football on Saturday. He's hurt his leg. I am going to do is also possible in these sentences. So here we can also use present simple, present continuous tense, or we can use going to structure. For example, what are you going to do on Saturday evening? But the present continuous is more natural for arrangements. But when something has already been arranged, then present continuous is more natural rather than going to or present simple or future simple. Do not use will to talk about what you have arranged. So we cannot use will when we have arranged something. What are you doing this evening? We cannot say what will you do this evening. Alex is getting married next month. We cannot say Alex will get married next month. So the same thing is repeated. Do not use will to talk about what you have already decided or arranged to do. I'm going on holiday next Saturday. I cannot say I'll go. Are you working tomorrow? Not.
So we have structure for affirmative sentences. For affirmative sentences, we bring subject to the start of the sentence, then helping verb. So if the subject is I or we can use shall or apostrophe double L. But remember, will is also permissible or acceptable. So we can use will as well. Then if we have other subjects like you, he, she, it, or a noun, then we use will or apostrophe double L, then base form of the verb, and then rest of the sentence. For example, I shall help the poor, or we shall work together, or I'll help the poor, or we'll work together. You will hurt yourself, or you'll hurt yourself. He'll return next week, or she'll buy some new books. It will rain if the storm stopped, or they will prepare for their exams, etc. For negative, we introduce not after will or shall. So we can also make the short form shan't for shall not and won't for will not. For example, I shall not help the poor, or I shan't help the poor, or we shan't work together, or we will not work together, or we shall not work together. So will not, shall not, shan't, or won't, they are all acceptable. You will not hurt yourself, or he won't return next week. She won't buy some new books. So that is how we make negative sentences. For interrogative yes no questions, we bring helping verbs shall and will to the start of the sentence, then subject, then main verb first form, and then rest of the sentence, finally question mark. For example, shall we help the poor, or shall we work together, or will you hurt yourself, or will he return next week, or will she buy some new books, will it rain if the storm stopped. This way we ask yes no question. Now how to answer these questions? For answering these questions, we bring yes followed by a comma, then subject I or we, and then shall. Like, and if the subject is he, she, it, you, they, or a noun, then will. For no, we bring subject and then shall not or shan't, or with the rest of the subjects won't or will not. For example, shall we play cricket? Yes, we shall, or no, we shan't. Will he watch TV? Yes, he will, or no, he won't. So that is how we answer yes no questions. For WH or information questions, we bring the WH words to the start of the sentence, followed by the helping verbs, then the subject, then first form of verb, and then the rest of the sentence, and finally question mark. For example, why shall I help the poor, or when shall we work together, or where will you hurt yourself, or where will you return next week, or when will you return next week. So that is how we ask WH or information questions, and we answer these questions with affirmative structures. We can also ask such questions with WH, which, and what when we have an option. For example, which book shall I read, or what novel shall I read, or what game shall I play, or which tense shall we study, etc. Or shall you or will you study. So that is how we ask such questions. But remember, these questions are asked when we have an option. But for a general option we have what, and for a specific option we have which. Next we have negative interrogative sentences. For negative interrogative we make a contraction of shall not or will not, then the subject, then the main verb, and then the rest of the sentence, finally the question mark. For example, shan't I help the poor, or shan't we work together, or won't you hurt yourself, or won't he return next week, won't she buy some new books. But remember, this structure is very much common in spoken language. When it comes to written language, we normally use the full form, like shall I not play cricket, or will he not watch TV. So that is more common in written language, while this one, the short form, that is more common in spoken language. We have a short activity here. Complete the sentences using will or going to. For example, why are you turning on the television? I'm going to watch the news. So I watch is converted into I'm going to watch. Oh, I've just realized I haven't got any money. So haven't you? Well, don't worry. I will lend you some. I'll lend you some. Complete the rest of the blanks yourself so that you practice the tense. Put in will or won't. Can you wait for me? I won't be very long. There's no need to take an umbrella with you. It won't rain. It will not rain, or it won't rain. If you do not eat anything now, you will be hungry later. So here we have will. Complete the rest of the blanks yourselves. Complete the sentences with will plus one of these verbs. So some verbs have been given and you're supposed to pick one of them. Don't worry about your exam. I'm sure you will pass. Why don't you try on this jacket? I think it is nice. It looks nice. It will look nice on you. It will look nice on you. So here we have look. Complete the rest of the blanks yourselves. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for watching Innovative English Learning. For more such videos on English grammar, creative writing, phonetics, phonology, keep watching Innovative English Learning and do share it with your friends. Thank you. Take care of yourselves.